Have you ever been taken advantage of? I have. And for me, it was at my first official job in fast food when a pot of au jus sauce had spilled all over my abdomen and arms. A trigger warning for these images about to pop up. As I was at work, I remember my manager rushing in and telling me to sit down and put a towel with ice in it on my arms. But instead of telling me that an ambulance is coming, he had told me, "You have to return back to work." And the people around me looked at me as if that was normal. So that's what I did. As I was working in the window, I remember a customer had told me, "Why are you working?" and had looked at me like they were confused. I was confused too, because I thought this wasn't normal, and it was not normal. So I told myself I have to leave because there's a way out. So I ran to the bathroom and I called my mother. And my mother had responded with such anger because, of course, her child had just gotten hurt. But I felt like I should have needed to respond with that same exact anger as well, because the people who were supposed to protect me and take care of me failed me. And I had to learn how to advocate for myself. And I felt like I was a liability because that's the way they treated me after this had happened, as if I had not been working at that job for over more than a year. So, after I had called my mother, she had picked me up, and it was the first time I had officially cried because I stopped being in shock during that time. I remember looking down at my arm, and I had felt like the burn had looked at me as if it had personified itself and said to me, "You have to leave, you have to escape." And I looked at it as if it was my younger self who was anxious and could not take initiative. But I know now that there's always a way out if you allow it. So I started applying for new jobs, and I ended up getting a job that paid me $19 an hour instead of $12 an hour, and which I'm very proud of myself for. But if I didn't take those steps to leave, I would have never known that that could happen for me. But why, whenever we feel unsatisfied, that's our first time that we think that we're able to leave, and it's not true. We as people should not need pain to fuel our progress. And what I mean by that is that we should always be trying to go for our needs and wants all the time, without the misfortune to guide us. Of course, failure is a factor, but regret can hurt us more than the failure that comes with it. And if we continue to let failure be the number one factor to keeping us from doing what we want, we rob ourselves from learning and improving. And of course, there's risks. I know about that risk because, of course, when I had to apply for a new job, there's risk at hand. And even me standing here, there was a risk that I had to take to even step foot right now. But in the end, it makes us more well-rounded individuals that helps us become more well-fit for whatever we want to do in the future. And I gained the tool of advocating for myself and taking initiative from the past job that I was at before. And if we do not try to change, we gamble with our own happiness. If we resist beneficial changes for ourselves, we are gambling with our own happiness, and we can risk being in a life that makes us unhappy. And that gambling brings us back to the unsatisfaction that holds us back. If we open up and allow ourselves to be challenged, we open up a life full of success. So, instead of trying to start during New Year's, we should always be open to changes and open to opportunities all the time. Because those tomorrows that we always promise to ourselves are not infinite, and they will come to an end. So flip the switch and start today. Thank you.